Yeah, I can only drink like one in a day. They're very heavy. There's a lot of sugar in them.
Ginger beer?
Yeah, Bundaberg. Bundaberg. Is that you or me? Is that your light body or mine? Yeah, let's see what's taking so long. I usually have my other computer set up, but I don't have it set up. I was talking to Hung Nguyen.
Mm-hmm. How's she?
She's good. She's solid. Solid as a rock. As a rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was talking to her, and you sent me the message at 2 minutes till, and I said, I got to go. I got to go. We're doing a show. She goes, what? I'm like, yeah. Morgan wanted to do a show. I said, let's go. Yeah.
Well, it was just the stuff that we were talking about this morning, and you said I should write a post on it, and I thought it'd be easier just to talk about it than sit around writing posts.
That's true. It's morning in Australia.
Yep, in sunny Queensland.
Mm-hmm. It's 1 a.m. in London, 1:30. Yeah.
How do you know?
Because I had to go put the times up. Yeah. So I wondered why I was still up. Yeah. What were we talking about? What was it?
Well, I was talking to you about the importance of being in your own space and spending as much time as possible in solitude for what's coming in the coming weeks and potentially months.
Yeah. Yeah. How long do you think that's going to last?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how. That's why I said, but, definitely, for now, I see it lasting at least a few weeks and potentially, into the months. And then you said maybe it'll be finalised by September.
Mm-hmm. Well, September is always completion. That's the way it's been the last few years. Not that I knew what the hell that was all about, but yeah, definitely September has always, since 2017, I can recall. What's coming? Nori Love says, what's coming? Yeah.
Who says what's coming?
Nori Love. Said, what's coming? Question mark.
Well, I mean, I don't really know for sure, but there's so many light body activations going on. We're having incredible experiences with our light body. I was talking to you this morning about 21 years ago when I woke up, that I went through this period, probably of about a year, of this constant questioning my sanity. I actually felt like I was going insane, not realizing what was going on as I was exiting, the old matrix and really coming out of. And, I remember saying to myself over and over again, oh, my God, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. And not realizing that I was actually exiting the craziness of, the life that I used to live. In an office all day, every day, and wearing designer suits and things like that. So that was the first time. And then I've spent, well, definitely the last 2 nights, there's been minimal sleep. I woke up at 2:30 this morning and just couldn't go back to sleep. And I had a period again of like, gosh, I think I'm going insane. And then last night, that was even worse. I was convinced I was going insane then. But that was, and I couldn't sleep again. So I actually put a Netflix on and thought, well, I'll just sit here and watch Netflix. And what I was watching was parallel to what I was going on in my brain. And every time I moved my hand, even, leaning on my face like that, it wasn't my hand, it was your hand. And so that was making me feel completely and utterly insane because I couldn't feel my own. Gosh, it's so hard to explain. I could every time I touched myself, like if I rubbed my leg or touched my face or this normal natural stuff, it wasn't my hand, it was yours. So I've spent a lot of time in the last probably couple of weeks having these periods of really questioning my own sanity. Yeah. Why are you laughing?
No, because I can relate, obviously. I forgot to tell you last night I'm laying on the couch and about, I don't know, probably 5 times, literally felt fingertips on my legs 4 of the times and 1 time on my stomach. Fingertips.
While you were touching yourself, or?
No, I wasn't touching myself. I was watching TV And I wondered about it, but there was, it was too much going on for me to try to really zero in on it. But yeah, where are we going? I don't know. But what I said to you after we talked today was like, I'm like coming into what we're going to be in on the other side. There's been some huge shifts since March, since that, what was it? Equinox, or I get it mixed up. Yeah.
Actually, the 9th of March, I had a huge event happen, and then the 10th of March, it came in a different way through light language, and the 11th of March, and it happened at another level, which is what happens with us when we're learning about sex. It happens over like different things about sex. Why are you laughing? It's what we go through, but it's the same thing. It comes first in as a frequency, and then it comes at another level, and then it comes at another level and another level. And I feel like that's what we're doing at the moment. And many of us have actually activated our light bodies.
Yeah.
In my sessions, I'm actually having to do like activations so people can activate their own light bodies. And I think that what we're doing is we're practicing holding that for longer and longer periods at a time. And the most powerful way to do that is by yourself, alone, with no external distractions. So you can really feel and tune into everything. And the other bit that I got was that in that alone space, it's almost like you need to ask yourself on a daily basis, what can I do that would bring me joy today, and spend more and more time doing the things that you really want to do for yourself, not for anyone else, but the things that are going to bring joy, because that naturally keeps you in that higher frequency while you're doing things that you love doing.
Yeah.
And that is much easier to do while there's not all these external distractions going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Real quick, I want to come back to that. Somebody asked, how can I share this Facebook user? If you're in the Soulogy group or on the Soulogy One or any of the platforms that's not Todd Medina, you have to be like that page or be a member of that group to be able to share it. So yeah, what you just said, like energetically, like when I think of, like I told you, I got big time on the couch today, integration. Like you're going to now, you understand you're going to integrate all of this stuff that's coming in massively since I don't know when, but certainly mid-May. And
March, really from March. And it's just getting faster.
Yeah, I guess it must have climaxed maybe in the end of May, like along the lines of the Soulogy Fest. That was actually Franco and Jason Estes, their forecast was that period would be when it would start to clear, basically,
I had a huge week at that last week of May where I was, we hopped online talking like one night after I think it was the last night, the Monday night of the Soulogy Fest. And I automatically just started channeling that I needed to look at, that I was experiencing fear of rejection, that it was held within the womb space. And so everything that I'd ever created was coated with fear of rejection attached to it. And that, that was my core wound, my major core wound, one that I hadn't really ever I hadn't thought about or worked on. So it was like a real unconscious thing sitting there. And then that led me straight into victim consciousness and clearing victim consciousness at every possible level, like victim consciousness for the collective, my own personal victim conscious, my own inner victim. And then I think I did... like sovereign being, like I made sure that I did numerous areas of it. And then straight after, so it was victim consciousness, fear of rejection, and I can't remember the third one. Do you remember what it was? Shame. Yeah. Then that led to unconscious shame. And so there was a pattern, which, I know a lot of people have when things happen to you as a child. You take on this program of accepting all of that shame that was directed towards you. So then the shame was lifted, like everyone else's shame that I was carrying, and then I was left with my own personal shame to deal with and clear for a few days. So that last week in May was huge.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and go ahead.
Go on.
No, you go.
Well, I think I was just going to say, it seems to be, we're doing all these really deep, deep clearings in readiness for
something.
Well, and I'm going to say that for me, it feels like the something's going to be that we're going to hit a point that we've been able to maintain a frequency of the light body being there at a permanent stage. I mean, for me, I'm spending more and more time in that light body energy. I keep saying to you, both of us are on a major health kick at the moment. Mine started sooner than yours. But I keep seeing my light body jogging. Now, my human self does not want to jog. So my compromise is I'm walking for, 1 to 3 hours every day. I'm walking fast, but I don't want to jog. But I can see my light body giving me instruction. It's almost like comes in as a projected image first, and then naturally my human self is following suit.
You'll be running marathons.
No, I really don't want to run marathons.
I see my light body. It's under that big mother tree outside.
That sounds right. Well, you are a lot older.
Oh, yeah, right. So when the thing came in, and I just want to say too, and I did mention it, actually a couple things I mentioned, you didn't even know this. It was actually Saturday night, or it was either Friday or Saturday night when that happened. I think it was actually Friday night of the Soulogy Fest, because it was so moving to me that the next day when I just went into my role, when I started things, I brought it up because I've seen you channel countless times, but I've only seen you channel, if that's not even the right word, I've only seen an aspect of yourself come in to that degree, to that level of power, about 3 times. And you didn't see it because I watched it, but there was a point, and this is the part that I brought up in the when I was emceeing the Soulogy Fest. She was saying that the womb is pure unconditional love, and she described it, and it was like crazy, like just crazy description. And then she said that anything that's trying to enter the womb, nothing can enter the womb unless it's pure unconditional love. And in that moment, like when you were doing that channel, I was just like, whoa, that's it. That's what we're doing. We're actually going in and creating these new lives and new earth and new universe, new galaxy, new codes, new templates by entering that space, which is what we're doing. It's crazy.
Yeah, and part of that channeling too was explaining that the womb is the the point of creation, and that everything that that many of us had created so far had that. I can't think of a better right word, but like a grubby aspect to it, like a still distorted aspect to the creations, and that from now on, once victim consciousness was cleared, or any core wounds, shame, guilt, like any of that was completely cleared, then the creations that would be coming in the future would not have that attached. And not only that, but you look at all these people that friends dropping away, relationships are dropping away, jobs are dropping away, and all that sort of stuff. They're old creations that we created when we still had all that old programming running. So as we move through this and the light body starts having more of a say of what we're going to be doing, and the light body is like the manager of all the other etheric bodies as well, including the human physical. So the light body is like the manager of all of that. And so a lot of the stuff that we're going through is clearing that on purpose. So we can hear, we can align with what the light body actually wants for us. Yeah. So all those old things like planning what we're going to do, planning, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, trying to use the energy of force unconsciously to make things happen, that needs to drop away as well. And as we get more and more aligned with the light body and we spend more and more time alone, that voice and that knowing gets stronger, and then we start automatically aligning with these new creations.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were talking too, because you didn't say this when we were talking yesterday, that the light body, because we had that diagram and it has the body, the human body, it has all the auras of all the bodies around it. And the last one being the light body. They had a different name. But you didn't say
etheric,
that.
The closest one to us is called the etheric body. Yeah. And the etheric body is almost like the blueprint for the physical form. So everything really comes down through the etheric.
Right.
But the light body is the one that's in charge of all of it.
Right. Right.
So if you think about everything we're doing, we're actually doing these conscious physical things and clearing all of those, clearing through every etheric field the causal body, the celestial body. Well, the celestial body is the bridge, between the human and the higher self. But we're actually, everything we're doing is consciously going through and clearing all of those bodies so they can align with what the light body wants for us.
Right. And so the light body is on point with all the other bodies, including the human. We were talking about how at some point that, as the humans learned all these things and embodied all these things, it will then begin to transmit code for the universe and for those bodies from, from having gone through that 0 point.
Yeah, so what we were saying yesterday is all of the bodies, like it drops away, the old relationships drop away, the addictions drop away, the bad habits drop away, the thought viruses and all that sort of stuff drop away, and then it comes down just to the human. And we were talking yesterday also of, why we knew that this temporary time apart was important. We knew some of the reasons, and we knew that more of the reasons would come to light. But we also understand that, what's going on now needs to happen alone. You can't walk through holding somebody else's hand. You actually need to do it yourself, because we are sovereign beings. We have to go through as the individual, experience oneness within ourselves first, and true service to self first. And then we go through and we automatically become one with everything else. And our true service to self is the stuff that brings us joy. We're serving ourselves, and then those things then become service to humanity.
Yeah. And then also, I think in terms of embodiment, the light bodies get to practice taking our consciousness to our bride on the other side of the world. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think for probably about 4 or 5 months before I left, we were having incredible experiences of the light bodies and what they were doing. I mean, we learned through that your light body has a womb and has all the female anatomy and everything, and that my light body had all the masculine anatomy. She ravaged
me. She ravaged me. She ravaged me.
Have you done victim consciousness yet, Todd?
She even pulled my hair at one point. But it was her light body. It wasn't her human body. It was her light body.
Don't start. I'm sure I didn't. It was pure. I'm sure I didn't spank you or pull your hair and all that sort of. It was
pure. Wild can be pure.
Yeah, but I think I've mentioned this before. I mean, we had, first my masculine light body came up, and we were just laying there, hands like this. My masculine light body came up, and then Todd's feminine light body came up, and we just watched, and our bodies experienced everything that the light bodies were doing. My masculine light body made absolute wild, passionate love to your female light body when you let it, because you were very protective of your yoni for quite a few days. Like,
well,
we were really
I'm a good girl. I'm prim and proper. I'm prim and proper.
No, but you remember feeling that? You were like really.
Yeah, I remember that. I do.
Protective of it, and
because you with that information you get, with that happening, you get all the information that goes with it, which was an immediate, understanding and identification with the feminine energy in this series of incarnations. It's pretty deep stuff.
Yeah, it was very deep stuff. And I think we had a few weeks of that going on. And then it flipped. The next one was really interesting, and we didn't really understand what was going on during that period. One, we were practicing what can our light bodies do, without the humans doing anything at all. So we were building up that, excuse me, that it was like a practice period. So we were building that up, and then by the end of it, we understood that. Okay, well, I'm going to go on. So the next one that happened was my masculine came up. My light body came up as masculine. Then his light body came up as masculine, and then those two energies were making wild, passionate love for a week or so. That was really unusual, because it was no different than when we're together. Pardon?
Yeah. No, seriously. I made a joke, but no, it was.
I missed your joke.
Well, you said it was a bit unusual,
Yeah, it was
but
unusual for us.
yeah,
And
no, I'm
why are
saying,
we having two men
yeah,
doing this, and
yeah,
we're having that experience at the physical? We weren't doing
yeah,
anything. We're just holding hands or cuddling, but we
hmm
felt everything. And then the third one that happened was my light body came up as a feminine, and his light body came up as a feminine, and we experienced exactly what it's like for two women to be together in that true sacred union. And so once all that finalized, we understood that, that level of sacred sexuality, it doesn't matter, who you're with. The physical sex of the other person is irrelevant.
yeah,
That same level of love is experienced. But we went through that in another way a couple of years ago, where our relationship went through, as humans, we went through like a week or two of, it's like I was the mother and you were the son, and then the next week we flipped over into you're the father and I was the daughter, or a niece and a nephew, or like we went through stages of our relationship, acting like we were experiencing every possible scenario of a female and a male together, different power plays or different energies.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's
we've done some weird
yeah, and
things.
that's a really good point too, because a lot of people think everything is, you're a couple, or what they call twin flame, or whatever the case is, and it's just like, you turn a switch on and everything, but it's work, and it's being aware of what's happening, and yeah, it's all those things.
For
It's
us, it
much.
feels like, sorry, Todd.
No, go ahead.
For us, it feels like we were neutralizing every
Mm,
possible relationship status that
mm-hmm.
we'd perhaps ever been in the past, or understanding it, neutralizing it, and understanding it for this relationship. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like teacher student, business partners. There was,
Hmm.
every possible relationship that exists, we lived through our time through that period, and it lasted about 12 months.
Yeah, sure did. Going through portal after portal,
Yeah,
crossing the
and
country.
we, in that period, we ceased to exist almost as husband and wife. Like that just got put on the wayside, and we went through all these other relationship scenarios.
Well, we occasionally had our moments. I remember one in the cabin. You even wrote about it. No, back to the real time intel. We don't want to go there. There's too much time left on the clock. I'll get us kicked off. So, like you were talking about integrating and the isolation, I call it the universal isolation, the solitude. And so, when that came in today, I was like, so what does that mean? Does that mean I don't go anywhere, that I stay where I'm at? Most likely. But does it really mean that? And then I was thinking, it really is more to me like disentangling. Like we have disentangled
Mm-hmm.
these entanglements that we made by our own choice. We weren't always conscious. Now we're conscious. So we have, to the best of all of our abilities, disentangled, at the same time, raising our level of, let's say, unconditional love or frequency. And now it's like we're in this space. Not only is it, hey, there's a bunch of stuff came in, you need to be alone, you need to be clear, you need to be connecting, but it's also like, where do I go from here? And I'm very clear on what is an entanglement, and what, or I'm getting clearer. I'm not going to say I'm very clear. I'm getting clear on what is an entanglement versus an organic
Mm-hmm.
synchronicity or alignment.
Yep.
And all the old rules go away,
Yeah.
right?
And, for me, like when I got that intel on, first it happened on the 9th of March, and then the 10th, it came in light language, and I didn't fully understand that. And then it started coming through in English over the following days. And then I had to have that 3.5 week period where I crocheted like a madwoman, trying to integrate it all. I think 3 queen size bed blankets in that period, like for 12 or 18 hours a day, for my human to integrate and accept that we were being asked to separate again.
Mhm.
It took that amount of time for me to come to terms with, because, you know, I knew that if I left America, there would be a very good chance, and not definite, but a really strong chance that I might not be able to get back for 2 years. You know, so it could be up to 2 years before we see each other again, unless you can get all your stuff organised and get a passport and get to me, which I'm hoping you'll be able to do.
I'm a
Um,
fucking magician. We got new magic in the air every day too.
yeah. But
Always.
we also understand that, you know, clearing all this stuff, all these leftover bits that belong to us personally, you know,
No, I
and
agree.
raising our frequency, then this automatic alignment will be able to occur.
Well, yeah, and these disentanglements, and then you could say, you know, these straight lines are not entanglements. These alignments that you have, then you enter those spaces with, and there's a real foundation there. It's not based on codependent frequencies and stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, you think about all the things that we openly, even like saying the Pledge of Allegiance or signing a contract. I mean, like, how many times did we not even think about it? You know what I mean? It's like you don't even think about it. So the level of you know, commitments and oaths and, you know, all that stuff that we were programmed, you know, that was programmed within us by our own volition. I mean, that's huge by itself.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I guess as we all start to do this ourselves, like getting rid of the enmeshment, the codependence, the entanglements, as
Mm-hmm.
you're saying, like I got a message from a dear friend this morning saying, can we catch up today? And I had to look at it. I'm like, well, yes, but I've got all these things that I need to get done and everything as well. So, you know, I couldn't come up with a time. So I just wrote back, okay, I've got to get all these things done first. I'll contact you this afternoon to, you know, to work out, you know, when we can align. But it's even that, you know, even like 6 months ago, I would have said, yes, okay, I'm available now immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
now I'm really having to think about, and it feels important, you know, to really have pure understanding of self first, and
Yeah.
not from a selfish perspective, but really choosing what's right for the self in every moment
Yeah.
and maintaining that frequency and not getting distracted by anything external.
Yeah, we did. I think it was the first show somebody I talked to today on one of the shows, and it was like, yeah, that it used to be someone, my dear, very good friend who I was talking to before this show, just said to
Mm,
me, your intentions, like, we're straight from the heart in this situation, but the field just couldn't hold it up. You know, it just wasn't in our you know, in our reality. Now it's different. You know, now the road to heaven is paved by good intentions, basically. But these alignments are alignments, and they're not entanglements. You know, unconscious entanglements. I
yeah.
think,
So I think this is part of the practice of where we're actually going to go to, where true and organic and pure collaborations will happen, because all of the agendas, the
yeah,
manipulations, the need for codependence, the entanglements, the approval, all those sorts of things in this period, which I believe is going to be months, like over the next 2 or 3 months, but maybe it's the next 2 or 3 weeks, I don't know, but it's a big thing. We're actually completely retraining
mm,
to start living in a whole new way, that's aligned with our light body rather than anything from the human perspective.
yeah. It's more feeling, instinct, intuition. Yeah, and it's like well, you see it. People are choosing themselves. Like, people are
Mm.
thinking, they're more open. Uh, you know, somebody said that the practitioner that was on, the last lady, I forget her name, but she was saying that people were coming in over the last year and a half, and they're more and more open. They want to know. So, you know, if they want to know, then they've discovered things we all did about what was, you know, being presented as reality that wasn't.
Yeah. And then, you know, if we start looking at governmental systems, the people that are meant to be serving us that have actually flipped over into controlling us, and start really, you know, once the victim consciousness is gone, we really start understanding that we created them. we created all of this. So you start looking at it from a different perspective, and then you start making conscious choices of, am I going to align with that, or what do I need to do to clear this automatic alignment with what's going on?
Yeah. Or you say, and I've seen this happen, and it's happened to me in the last 30 days, and it's about to happen to me again, which is where you say, okay, let's do that. And then you start to see what that is, because it's an entanglement, right? And you say, no, I'm going to change my mind. My friend did that to me. Our friend did that to me last week. And I totally respected it. I said, okay. I mean, you told me when I met you that the number one word in the ascension was reset. And it's, like everything takes on a wider and wider definition, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I look at these, and I want to say out loud, I'm sure everyone knows, we do not align with the label of twin flames. We don't see ourselves as that. We don't align with it. And I've always disliked the term, because to me it reeks of codependency, that, I can't be whole and complete by myself without some external person coming and making me, needing a twin to make me whole and complete. So we definitely don't align with that. Now I've forgotten what I was going to say. I got sidetracked. And that's okay.
I don't know. That's okay. I do it all the time. I left my body halfway through the day broadcasting, literally. So, and that's another thing. So I was on the couch, and my light body actually announced, and I watched it come into my body. Right. And it was what you said earlier, which is, as the individual goes, so goes the collective. It basically said, I'm here to stay, but there's going to be some changes, and they're going to be swift changes. We've been telling y'all this for a long, long time, and we get it, great. Human is the hero, but we're fixing to get into something. And I think that's what you're talking about. This period that may run whatever, 2, 3, 4 months, whatever it is in preparation for what we're going to create or walk into. And I believe that'll be this year. It feels right.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
It's interesting too how it follows the seasons. Yet you're in the southern hemisphere and it's winter, although you're in a tropical place.
Yeah, I'm in the southern hemisphere, but I'm more towards the top of the southern hemisphere now, and it's 22, 23 degrees every day, which I think is high 60s, low 70s. So even though I'm in winter, I'm still, wandering around in the summer dresses and things every day during the day.
So let me ask you this. So if two people can have physical sensations, first and foremost, from other side of the world, whereas it's not the typical, non-physical or, herioscamos, two people, because our situations have not been like conscious. Okay, let's do this. It's just happened, and it's been very organic. But if that can happen, and if that's a sign of times of things to come, what else is coming? Like, right? I mean, like, what else is coming?
Well, I mean, we started off our relationship with herioscamos, which was very, very physical. And we consciously worked up through all the chakras and did all the work through all them, but that was an absolute physical experience, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. So that was the two higher selves merging as one, and you called it soulgasmic, and it really was. But we were working at the same time, and then then we came together and we're physical. Well, actually, we weren't in our first
10 weeks.
First 10 weeks together, and then actually again for the next 10 weeks we weren't. Then we got married. No, we got married about like a week before I left, Todd.
Yeah.
That's right. Then I think we were married for 2 or 3 days, and then you said to me, "Oh, do you think we should do something about, we're married now?"
That's not how it went. I was much smoother than that. It was Rico Suave when it happened.
Oh,
and it actually was. Oh, I remember exactly.
And it was the most wonderful 2 minutes of my life.
Yeah. That's not what happened. That's not
okay.
What happened.
Well, what happened?
but no, that I'm not saying. Anyway, whatever. No, I remember I remember exactly what happened. but
Yeah.
I don't want to get
So,
graphic. So
okay.
what were you talking about? Stop bringing it back to that. Okay. Um, hmm.
All right. So let me continue. So
Oh,
initially,
what else is
in the
coming?
first
Like,
18 months was the Harris Gamos, and
yeah.
then we came together, and it was physical, and then for the few months before I left, then it became light body. It became very light body. So we practiced that, and the light body is phenomenal. And then I think on the second or third night that I was in quarantine, I've just finished quarantine again. The second night I finished quarantine, then it was a bit scary for me actually, because I couldn't see you, but I knew, gosh, it gets a bit graphic. I knew that, well, I thought there was a ghost in there making love to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote down the time that it happened, and we worked out that you had set those intentions. And I think we were 2 hours out, but I mean, the time was irrelevant.
Yeah.
But you actually set the intention that you were going to bilocate and do
Yeah.
that. And that was, you may as well have been there, except invisible.
Yeah.
It was so powerful. And then that, I think you set the intention a couple of nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that was happening, it felt very, very passionate. It wasn't sexual, but it felt very passionate. And that's when I was like, what? Because I knew you were sound asleep. So it didn't even occur to me that you'd done something or set some intention.
Yeah.
And so I was feeling like I had two minds in one body. I had Todd and myself in there at the same time, and my body was having the experiences. And interesting, I was watching V100 at the time, and I was telling you yesterday, I don't know if anyone's seen it, but they had a little chip where they were collecting all of the memories and, I guess, the soul of somebody that had died, and then transferring it into another body. So I'm watching this and I'm having the experience at the same time. And I knew that you'd been asleep for hours. So I
Can't
wasn't
make
saying
this
anything.
shift up.
I'm completely insane. I've completely lost the plot now.
Well, yeah, but what actually happened was I was asleep for about an hour and a half. I woke up, you messaged me, and I, even if I heard it, which I didn't, I just knew to pick up my phone, and I saw this meme you sent me. Then it triggered, not triggered in a bad way, but it activated me. And then I think we messaged a couple of messages. Then I went back to bed, and that's when it happened. And I was telling you that when it happened on the second night of quarantine, and when it happened that night 2 nights ago, where I was with it, it was like the deepest part of my heart, basically my deepest desire, but the multidimensionality was like in alignment with it. I can't really explain it. It wasn't like a ache. It wasn't like an ache or a longing. It wasn't like that. It was like a projection, and it was pretty cool. And something else that rhymes with projection. I can't help it. It's just I like to write poetry and rhyme.
So we're allowed to talk we're allowed to talk about some things, but we're not allowed to talk about other things.
Okay. So, yeah, this thing about disentangling, it's not a personal thing. It's just these programs. You can almost see them. I mean, like in the field, I can almost see like you're a puppet. You got all these hundreds and thousands of strings we had in there, and I can kind of see like there's not a whole lot of them left here. I don't know what the number is, and I'd hate to even try to guess, but you can actually you feel lighter. You feel lighter. Like when I left Sedona, I felt really light.
Yeah,
A
because
lot of
we're
stuff.
consciously choosing when to step in and play in oneness. We step in, we play in oneness, and then we're going to step out and be back in our own oneness. And the 3D matrix hasn't operated like that. We've all pretty much been parasitic or vampires, or we've used each other's energy, and that's all breaking down. And then, when you strip away victim consciousness, then it becomes even clearer when you're doing that and when you're not. So we're not going to be living like that anymore. So I think this is what's coming, is that we're actually going to delineate between I'm consciously choosing to go in and be part of this oneness and be part of conscious collaborations, and the rest of the time I'm going to be in my own space, which is pretty much how our relationship has been mostly. We operate as two very individual human beings, and then we come together, we merge as one, and then we come out again back into an individual state.
I've always maintained my space my whole life, individual space, somehow, some way. Like, you have a house full of kids. I remember that. And, working all the time. And even then I would go in the closet. I mean, I don't know. There's a reason that we did things like that. And to have the support of, the universal energy on the earth to the point that it is now is, I don't know, it just makes total sense. Like, I'm just getting, you need to just integrate, and literally you're communicating and understanding the more you can be in that space.
And then, all those side programs drop away too, like competition and comparison and success and failure and all these other things that play a role in keeping that in place.
It's happening. You see it when people, I mean, you see it happening. It's you can't even really describe it, but it's happening.
Yeah.
I saw levels of expansion. I guess you would call it expansion, which I guess has to be in this realm transformation. But I saw levels of transformation and expansion at that Soulogy Fest in all different types of energies, all different types of personalities. And that's what I'm seeing, when I go on social media and I share into the group, and I'm just seeing people where they're not who they were yesterday.
Yeah.
And
there's some really, I mean, this is just happening organically and naturally for most people. It really is. And the importance of the solitude, because while you're by yourself, you can feel everything of your own. There are no external mirrors to project on or blame or, send that off to. You're 100% present in yourself, especially if you're not playing on Facebook all day, every day, or doing some of those other things. So, I'm probably lucky to spend 15 minutes on Facebook a week for the last two or 3 months. Because it's just like it's just a distraction that I just don't need anymore. But while I'm sitting here alone in stillness and quietness, I can really feel, the programs that I might have missed, or I can really tune in and feel what's happening for me. And then at the same time understanding, well, if it's happening for me, I'm part of the collective. It's happening at some level for the collective as well.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of the reason that this is, I mean, you can fight it, but I mean, I think everybody's going to be there. I mean, the quarantine and all that stuff last year kind of set the table for it, for solitude and self-introspection. But I think part of the reason is because, for me anyway, I mean, it's actually coming in a different language, or really I would say languages. It's coming in it's not like somebody standing in front of me and explaining things to me. And even when you and Hung do and have, and you're right, it still doesn't register until it comes in, because it's just a different, I don't know, or maybe it's the same guidance that came when, I woke up or anybody else woke up, and it's just in the majority now.
Yeah. Another way to look at it too is, the light body has its own original blueprint. And then we came in, we were conceived with parents and, with all their programs and all their ancestors' programs, whatever, and we started living all those blueprints. There was something in us that took on all of those blueprints, and as we've stripped away all of those and stripped away all the layers of those programs, then we're automatically aligning more naturally and more organically with that original blueprint of our own. So this period of, whether it's a few weeks or I believe it's going to be, at least another couple of months of practicing, of being our own original blueprints. I mean, when I think about every time I tune into my light body, it's jogging. And I think that's never happening. I do not want to jog. But
you're going to be jogging.
You said to me this morning, you're going to be jogging. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I did jog the other day when I went for a walk, and this giant kangaroo walked over the road in front of me, and I'm trying to, because I had you on there, and I'm running towards the kangaroo, not too close because they can be dangerous, but to try to show you. And I was amazed at how easy it was. Like, I ran for quite a way, and I didn't get breathless or anything. It was So
Well,
it's the quietness and the stillness allows us to hear more and more of that inner voice, the voice of our light body.
yeah, yeah.
And then hearing that voice, we've got to integrate some things to align more and more with our original blueprint to start
So,
creating from that original plan.
so your light body keeps running. Mine keeps
Resting.
opening the door to your bedroom and walking in while you're sleeping. I don't know what's going to happen from there.
See, you're
Well,
the one that keeps taking it back here.
no, but that's really what I've been seeing. You know, I thought it was me at first, but it wasn't because he's blue. I noticed he's
But
blue and
yes,
you're pink.
look, I'm teasing you, but you
No,
are actually correct. You're
I know.
100%
Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
We're still meant to be merging. We're still
yeah,
meant to be doing
yeah,
basically everything that we do when we're together. We're
yeah.
still meant to be doing that. We know our telepathy is building, our connection is building, the other gifts, that we've got going on. I can't list them at the moment, but those gifts that are real gifts of the light body of universal intelligence, in this
Hmm.
period that we're apart, are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So you are
Yeah.
actually meant to be sending yourself through my bedroom door and coming to
It's
visit
just
me.
it's happening. Well, I do it all day long, every day. It's become
Mm.
it's almost become an addiction. God, I was going to say something that. Oh, so like it's almost like if you went into the future and you look back at the evolution, the true history. Like if you look at, because everything is, as the individual goes or the couple, so goes the collective. These things are happening to these people, so it's out there, it's happening. It just may look different, but like this, when the internet boomed and you started to have long distance relationships, I feel like one of the many things that we've actually kind of broke through is the conventional wisdom of, hey, if you're who you are to each other, which I'd put us up against anything. That's just me personally. Uh, it doesn't mean you have to conform to what everyone thinks is normal. I mean, we're actually in a situation where the connection is expanding. Now we've had to be, honest with each other, and we've had discussions, and we've had our own stuff, but that's a very powerful thing at an energetic level. I mean, there's got to be people all over the world, romantic and not, that are generating, really like what you say, like uh, new neural pathways on the Earth grid that are strengthening it through a pure connection.
Mm. Because we are the grid. We
Mhm.
are the new grid. The grid is we're beacons of light on this new grid that's been created, and as we extricate ourselves off the old grid and start practicing these things in full consciousness, we're creating a new grid. So, there's an energetic line that goes between you and I. So we're one little part of the grid, and then we've got numerous other triad people like
Mhm.
Beth, you, myself,
Mhm.
and Beth. We communicate regularly and, move through things. Monique's the same. There's a few others. But this is the new grid being built. I know what I was going to say before when I was talking and I got lost, and that was about this runner-chaser dynamic that is spoken about often, like in the twin flame communities. Not that I go there or anything, but the runner-chaser thing, everyone's fighting that point of separation. But the points of separation are probably the most powerful things that any relationship can actually go through, because they offer opportunities for reset. So,
Mhm.
when somebody says, I need to go away for 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever it is, we're meant to let go and set them free and let that happen.
That's right.
And find a way not to be in fear over it,
Yeah.
and to be okay with it, and to really understand that love just is. You
Yeah.
don't have to be in each other's face
Yeah.
playing out
It's
these programs for the relationship to be working when there's a period of necessary separation. Honor that,
well,
like
yeah.
allow it.
It's natural. It's
It is
natural, and
natural.
it's not, and you could use. I mean, you could use a multitude, a myriad of aspects of our experience, all of our experience, but it's not the situation or the circumstance or the consequence. Not, it's the resistance to it. That's what works against our natural nature. That's what we're getting out of. So I don't know. I have total faith in the whole, even though like we had to integrate this for like 3 weeks. But I have total faith in, if it's not normal and it's not something that's been conventional and you're getting the guidance to do it, then go fucking do it, because there's people all over this community that have done that with their lives, and it's showing.
Mm.
It's pretty cool.
Yep.
It's like a volcano. You look good today.
I don't feel good. I mean, I sort of do. I've been wide awake since 2:30 this morning. Which was good because I was able to watch some of your shows, but yeah, and I didn't have any sleep the night before either. And that usually says to me that my defenses are going down. Like the less sleep I have, it usually lets me know, okay, something's coming. There's going to be another big thing coming. And because you haven't had much sleep, there's not going to be any defense or, any energy left to try to block it. So usually when I stop sleeping, which doesn't happen very often, but usually when I do, I start thinking, okay, something's coming, something else that I'm not aware of to be cleared.
After that last round of purging, so mine was probably 12, 15 hours. And I was in Sedona, which was about, a week after yours. And everybody, even Franco, even when I got up the next day and Franco's like, I don't know what the hell was going on last night, but there was all kinds of stuff happening. I said, really? You too? He said, yeah, all night long. So there was something huge that we all crossed over, or at least became available.
It was the last, it started on the last 555 gateway. Yeah. So there were 355 gateways, and that last one started on the 55 gateway. It took me probably 3 or 4 days to get through. And then the next thing that happened was the eclipse, and that was fairly gentle. And then we're already, in the doorway of the solstice. So I think also we're all becoming a lot more sensitive to these planetary alignments, or we're all becoming a lot more sensitive to all this stuff that's going on.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and I think, and going back to what we were talking about at the very beginning, going forward, like into the things we engage, knowing how the entanglement works. It's like, I don't know, I feel like that if you take that same pattern into getting downloads or energy coming in, like the way they've rocked us over the years, and it's gotten better and better. It doesn't take as long. To me, it feels like that information, that almost like the information you had before something happens, like precognizance. You're able to make a better choice or a more informed choice. And like I was saying earlier, I'm seeing some people, including myself, saying, hey, no, I'm not going to do that after all. It's better to not do that. It serves everybody better than for me to go do something and I'm not in alignment, I'm not in balance. Yeah. It doesn't resonate. Right?
Yeah. That our sensitivity to cognitive dissonance is getting like a louder as well. It's almost like a personal alarm. It doesn't matter what someone's saying to you. You can feel, we're able to feel or sense much quicker, okay, there's something, I know this is coming out of the mouth, but there's an energy over here that I can't ignore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You can't, even if you try to. How many people have said, and we've experienced it, we've actually experienced it since that first time you came to Houston, tried to get on that plane, but there's like so many people I've talked to said, I try to do this and I try to do this and I try to do this, and this happened and that happened and this happened. So we're being helped. There's definitely something going on that wasn't going on before in all of our lives, like 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, with all the different codependent and toxic frequencies out there. So it's pretty refreshing.
Yeah, it's cool. And I mean, if we're going to clear this in order to be able to erect the new grid as a permanent thing, gosh, it's worth it. And if it means that, there's a lot more solitude for a period of time, like I've had people here where I'm at in Harvey Bay, reach out and say, oh, well, look, you know, drop in and see me. And every part of my being, my human self would really like to. And the other part says, no, you really need to spend more time alone first. There'll be time for that, you know, when it's time to go and do that.
Yeah. That's the
Why
program. Well, that's because that's another way of saying what I was telling you about the program that I discovered today, which is what Hung said to me or said to you about the shows and saying, well, if Todd would just stop telling everybody he'll help them. Okay. So we answer questions, our invitations, and it's been our programming. And I think that this is what I was getting at is I've watched people, I don't know, the last few weeks, whatever, reset and just say, like Beth did it. She said, I can do this. And then she came back and a couple of days later said, no, you know what? I thought about this and I can't do that. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So like me yesterday, I had a client that I had a session with ages ago reach out and ask me about muscle testing. Now, once upon a time, probably only a few months ago, I would have sat there and written for 20, 30, 40 minutes, messages back and forth, teaching muscle testing. And it was an automatic yesterday. I said, why don't you hop on YouTube and do some research and find your exact right type of muscle testing for you? You know, it was just, now it's just automatic instead of this unconscious, okay, well, I've had a session with them. Yeah, self-empowering to themselves.
Yeah.
And also me not jumping into unconsciously that fix it, rescue, save, you know, other people, and therefore robbing them of finding their own self-empowerment.
Yeah.
So, you know, lead them in a certain direction and then let go.
Yeah, exactly. Let them do the work. You know, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
You know, where I'm anxious to see it happen, because you can learn a lot from it, is not only in people's posts, including my own, but in comments, right? Like, you know, there's certain people, and I don't really want to, I'll say ones like Pamela Johnson. I could name more people, but when they make comments and stuff, you know it's real. Like, it's just like, you just know it's real. And I'm not judging or comparing anyone. I'm trying to make a point, which we've all fallen into because we've all been subjected to this condition in programming. But that's like this same energy of, okay, let me put it this way. You put a post up, I put up a comment. That should be it right there. I put up a comment. My concern is not, did she respond? Did she like it? I put up the comment. That's the purity. And whatever happens from there happens. That's the kind of energy I'm talking about. And I think that's what you're part of what you're saying too. Because ultimately it puts everything on me, you know. Oh, I think she this, or she didn't do that, or he didn't do this. That's not, you know, that ain't about anybody. It's about me. Which is another reason to be alone.
Yeah. There's another exciting thing that when I did that channeling, I don't know, 10 days ago or whatever, this was explained to me, that more and more, and it's up to everyone's own discernment, this Todd that I told you about. See this? Oops, how do I do this?
Yeah.
Right? So here's a writing, and my higher self was explaining to me that more and more, oh, where did he go?
I'm here. Just keep going. No, I'm here.
No, I'm going to wait for you to come back.
No, put the notebook up so they can see.
No, where did you go?
I'm right here.
Okay. Well, it's not to read it. It's just I'm about to explain what this is.
Yeah, go ahead. That's cool.
Okay.
I'll put it back.
So, no, you put yourself back.
Okay.
Thank you. So it was explained to me that we're going to see more and more, like when people are talking or when people are writing, the letters of our DNA are not mistakes. They are sequences of letters that are delivered, like say in a writing or in a channeling or when someone's speaking, that are exactly where they need to be. And then when we listen to that or we read it, it will actually activate our own DNA into aligning. It's like an activation. So, you know, the DNA letters, so in this writing, and this isn't specific, but they said, you know, just mark, gosh, it's very hard to do this backwards. Just mark these. And that, so if you look at the information on this page, the sequence of the letters, oh God, I can't do this.
Other way.
It's too hard. Anyway, so we're to watch out for that. You know, sometimes when you read something, you know, something clicks in you and your whole being knows, wow, that was really significant for me. But or when we listen to someone, we can feel like an actual shift. And that's because more and more people are going to be delivering the actual DNA sequencing full of code that will actually activate your own DNA to align with that energetic information.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we've had experience with that, like with a song or stuff like that. But this is a different thing. This is like, so not only is it the formation, and you see it in some people have a knack for like doing a post and they kind of like accentuate it with ... or just different framing of the way they put the words. But what about, I think, and I could be wrong, but it certainly seems like the dream activity, not just individually, but between people, has increased substantially. Like,
definitely,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And including the clearing and everything too. Like, you know, not last night I thought I was insane. I can't even remember what it was last night, but I spent about an hour and a half going, oh my God, I'm completely losing it. Like, I'm really worried about how my brain is thinking. This is not normal. And then the night before, when I felt like I was going insane, because it was your hands. Like, if anything I did, it was, I couldn't feel my own self touching me. It was Todd touching me in innocent way, Todd. Now I've forgotten what I was going to say. You keep distracting me.
Then it probably wasn't me. No, it was me.
Oh, and so after that, then when I went to sleep, I spent the whole night having all these dreams, and I was smoking in all the dreams. And I went, oh God, that's really odd, because I haven't smoked for 2 months now. And I thought to myself, right, that's clearing going on. To be dreaming about something of a lower vibration or lower frequency, it's letting me know that there's some sort of clearing going on. So our dreams are getting more specific and more telling, giving us a lot more information. Our abilities to connect with people, you know, other people in the dreams and I think that our light bodies are actually starting to be seen by other people as well. So it's beyond a dream. It's like the light bodies are actually presenting to other people.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's really picked up a lot, though. I mean, that's really picked up a lot.
Yeah. So I think that was all we were going to talk about, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so. Let's see what else is here. Oh, Bruce is back. We haven't seen Bruce because we haven't been.
Oh, he called you a dirty old man.
Yeah. Bruce has a big crush on you, by the way. Todd gets dreamed a lot.
Todd gets
so
what?
Yeah, he said Todd gets dreamed a lot. You know, he has a way with words.
Dreamed a lot.
Him and Violet. Signal chains can be easily manipulated. I now test my signal chains. Humans have 4. For 100% clearness, I asked to get cleared of interferences and fully healed by Mother Earth. We can go back to that. Barb Bradley, what do you mean? What do you mean the light bodies are presenting to others? ? In dreams? ?
So when we have a dream, and when we dream, we usually dream like a storyline, and we might see somebody in our dream. Why do you keep disappearing, Todd?
Because my camera's messed up.
Okay, so we might see somebody in a dream within a storyline, but I'm saying that the light bodies are presenting. They're actually bilocating, and they're presenting almost like not as part of a storyline within a dream, but just showing up and saying something, or just showing up and connecting. So it's more bilocation than the dream state.
Right. So, yeah, I get that. That makes sense, too, because that's been happening all along.
Okay, so I saw it this morning. For me, it was in the middle of the night when you were interviewing the first person, Paul.
Paul Luff.
You were interviewing Paul, and Shaz Hargraves wrote on there, Morgan turned up in my garden yesterday.
Yeah.
And she was and she was aware of my essence.
Yeah.
So more of that sort of stuff is happening. It's beyond the dream state. It's actually, people are actually bilocating. We're starting to play with and practice bilocation more.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So you were touching me last night. See, you're not even conscious of it. You could have just thought something and it happened, which is how it happened when I came over there. But it was fingertips, and it was pretty hot. So, wait a minute. We're not done yet. Oh, okay. So, like, this is another thing, and I bring this up not because I know the answer, because I don't, but I think it's something to consider because everything's expanding, and there are things falling away, and some of the things that are falling away are things that we've been doing since we became awake, which is including protection. I think we're coming to a point where we don't have to burn sage. We are sage, right? We don't have to have this crystal to protect me because I am that crystal, or I can merge with that crystal and have that frequency or that code, right? I just feel like that some of these things that we have been utilizing, not only in our previous pre-awakening, but also in our awakening, are going to be going away. And that's another ego death, right?
Yeah, I think that stuff. I mean, I've never done protection. It never really resonated with me. I've never put myself in bubbles or anything like that.
In bubbles.
You know, I think people put themselves in like a bubble of white light or something like that.
Yeah.
I've never done that because it just never resonated. But when I look at it, it's like if you're needing to protect yourself, that's coming from fear or victim consciousness. Like anything that's come towards us, we really can deal with all of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had that man, I'm not going to say his name, that man who a portal opened up in my bedroom and he came in to attack me. And it frightened the crap out of me. I was really scared. And my higher self immediately came in and said, just bring him into your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I did, as scared as I was, I did. And he disappeared and the portal shut down and he was gone and he never came back again.
That's right. I took care of his
and
ass.
in having said that, when I was in, you took care of his ass.
Yeah, I took care of him. Because remember, I had a physical / non-physical encounter with him.
Well, you did it as well.
Yeah. Right. Almost at the same time.
He did it to me first, and I think a day or two later he did it to you.
Yeah.
But in saying that, when I was in hotel quarantine in Sydney, not this one that I've just finished, which thank goodness was in a home rather than a hotel, but there were a lot of people crying and screaming and yelling and everything around me. So, and I did that really well. I mean, I just worked with clients all day, every day. I was really busy. I did it really well. But somebody said to me, you should put up something around you to block. I mean, there's a lot of grief. There's a lot of pain. Like people can't drink. They can't smoke. They've got no distractions, really. They're stuck in a room and all their shit's coming up. And it was Hung, actually. Hung said to me, I really feel like you should put something up around yourself. I'm like, oh, yeah. And I didn't think anything of it. But a few hours later, I became aware of like a white light wall. Now, I didn't set that.
It was already
there.
But
obviously, yeah, it was. I saw it come up. I didn't feel like I needed it, but I did see it come up. So, I mean, I don't know why that happened, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Franco, that's one of the things Franco was talking about that weekend. He was talking about how you don't need it. I just remembered this. That's not why I brought it up, but he said you don't need it because the minute you say I need protection, you've just given your power away. Now, that may not have been something I could have done or you could have done or anybody could have done, say, whatever, 5 years, 5 months, 10 years ago. But I think we're at this point now where we can let go, right?
Yeah, and we're really not to have resistance, attachment, judgment, or projection. Like we're meant to have none of that. So, you know, for me, and it's only my opinion, some people might still like to do it, but, you know, in resisting what is coming towards you, you're not trusting in yourself that, you know, that you've created it as yours and you can handle it anyway.
Yeah. And that's really it. You know, like for anybody, and I guess everybody's been through deep traumas, especially in the summary life. And you're at that point in that trauma where it's just like beyond. I think you coined this, beyond suicide. Like it's just like you're not going to die. You know what I mean? Like you
And if
hit
you
this
are
point.
going to die, you're meant to,
Yeah.
and it's your own creation anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
we survived all these really dense, horrific, probably things, and most of us, our life, we survived them. What's anything etheric going to be worse than what we've already done?
That's right. That's exactly right. It couldn't be. It's so physical. Everything is so amplified, which is
Yeah. So we've used our energy to survive instead of thriving.
yeah.
And yeah, I think we're on the verge of flipping all of that. We need this practice period to really tune into the light bodies and anchor and embody the light bodies, and then allowing the human mind to align with those new instructions.
Yeah. Yeah. A soul can't survive because something that never dies, it's impossible to survive because you never die.
Mm.
So, yeah, that's a big pill.
Yeah.
So, okay, what else is on the agenda? Think of anything else? Anything else that you've observed in the last whatever? I mean, do you feel anything coming other than just this integration and solitude and isolation?
But this is huge. This is it. This is what we've all been waiting for. I mean, this is bigger than any of us understand. You're not going to have all these broken, programmed, fearful, victim consciousness humans running around the planet. You're going to have a massive wave first up that are going through it now. And no doubt there's people on the planet that are already there. You know, I think of Eckhart Tolle, or, you know, they're already there. But this is like a massive wave happening all at once. And I get very excited. I think you've got all these people, who knows what the numbers are, it doesn't even matter, but who are no longer holding the old matrix of power over together. How is that going to affect all these systems, all the governments and all that stuff that's going on? And you can see them all going into fear, trying to maintain and grab more and more control. Like here in Australia, I only found out a few days ago that the Prime Minister is actually, I think, already started building official quarantine centres, which means that lets me know they're already planning that everyone that travels from overseas is immediately going to go into quarantine, obviously at their own cost.
Yeah.
So, you know, how could they possibly know that? How could they possibly know that to spend that sort of money on building quarantine centres lets me know that they know a lot more than they're passing on. But at
Yeah.
the same time, you've got all these individuals who are doing this incredible work, dropping the old blueprints, dropping victim consciousness, dropping fear, dropping all of that, that are no longer part of the old matrix, holding all of that up. So
Yeah.
you watch them, you know, they're grasping, they're grappling for, you know, to try to do all these things to make it happen. They're really pushing the vaccines and everything here hugely. And here in Australia, I think there's two. If you're over 50, you have this sort. If you're under 50, you have that sort. Now, what's that about? Why
Yeah.
would you have two vaccines, one for
Yeah.
over 50 and one for under 50? I mean,
Yeah.
and we're getting smarter, we're getting wiser, and I like watching these two polarities, these two dualistic sides of one thing getting closer and closer and closer together. And, you know, we all know that when massive change comes, usually the first sign of that is major chaos,
Yeah.
personal and collective.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you look at it, the same can be said. Those people that you're describing that are removing the well, you know, the illusion, the conditioning, the programs, all that, they're countering. It's first of all, it's energetic, it's magical, it's alchemical, and it is far beyond anything that physically can be presented to us, which is really a power of suggestion in a physical, you know, in a physical matter. But it's like fluoride and GMOs and chemtrails, and obviously those things aren't having an effect on us like they used to. And the same is going for this. In fact, it's almost laughable to
Yeah.
some of the stuff that you see. It's so telegraphed, like it's so obvious. Like you said, it's just obvious.
Yeah. The other thing I'm noticing too is the amount of men that are actually really getting involved in this now. You know, when I first started doing sessions, it was like 95% women. And I'm really watching in the last couple of months more and more men reach out to activate DNA for sacred sexuality, Herioscamos, light body activations. I mean, the men are really, really stepping up and wanting all of this energetic information for themselves too, more so than ever before. The numbers are dramatically showing themselves.
Yep. I'm hungry.
You're always hungry.
I've been juicing. I had 3-4 glasses of juice today. 1 coconut water. Yeah. Lots of mineral water. See. Yeah. I guess I'm going probably vegan at some point. It certainly seems that way. Or maybe just sunlight and air.
Well, I saw a barbecue cooked the other night and it looked like nothing like vegan at all. I think there were steaks on there this big.
I didn't say. Those were mushrooms. Those were portobello mushrooms. And
were they really?
Oh, there was a big steaks. Yeah. They were Mexican steaks. Yeah. Well, I'm not vegan yet.
What are Mexican steaks?
They're the best.
Are they from Mexican cows?
Well, they're cut really, really thin, and then you marinate them, and you can make them like really cooked, but they're tender. It's the best.
So it's not from a Mexican cow. It's got Mexican herbs or something. It's cooked like Mexican.
I would imagine, yeah.
Or they're Mexican steaks because the chef was Mexican.
That's it. That's a better explanation. It's a lot easier for people to understand. But so I am enjoying
schnitzel that you found in the freezer the other day was cooked by an Australian, but you turned it into a Mexican chicken schnitzel.
Yeah, something like that. Ropa vieja. Yeah.
It wasn't a Mexican chicken. It was a Mexican chef.
Yeah. Yeah. The juicing's cool. I think this was my third or fourth time. And, but yeah, so I was doing it before I went to Soulogy and to Sedona, and it was purging. It was meant to be happening at the same time, I guess, because it was making me purge huge. And then this time I'm getting back on it.
How purging in what way?
Just always, beyond suicide was part of it. Crying was part of it. In bed and discomfort was part of it.
We should talk about that suicide thing because there's a lot of people going through that at the moment. I've had a few calls just in the last week of people saying, I'm either dying, I'm doing all this, I think I'm going to be dying and stuff like that. That can be a common thing. I actually went through that last week, like 2 or 3 days of feeling like I didn't want to be here anymore, which isn't a normal thing for me to feel, not since I was a teenager, really. But it's, when that comes up, we assume that the person wants to die, and we forget that it's one aspect of us that's actually dying or wants to die. And it's so big, we're almost drowning in this aspect that's about to die off. So the human gets tricked into feeling like, well, it's me, I must be depressed, I want to die. But as soon as it passes and we let go, we hit that point of surrender and it passes, we understand that it wasn't the whole human that wanted to die. It was an awareness of there's an aspect of me that's going to die or wants to die.
That's a great description.
Yeah, and for me, feeling suicidal for 2 or 3 days, I've never ever cleared fear of rejection. I didn't really know. I wasn't consciously aware that it was there. So, that I was feeling suicidal. And I wouldn't have done anything, but feeling that I don't want to be here anymore, that was the aspect of me who all of my whole life had created rejection, had constantly created, and that aspect was wanting to die. And the only way it was going to die was by me bringing it in and loving it unconditionally.
Yeah.
So it could die. But the suicidal thoughts came up because there was a part of me who was ready to die.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
So I feel very sad for the people that actually go, and I don't too. I honour and respect, it's their time and they should have that choice. But I think, well, how many of them went ahead and committed suicide when there was really just a part of them that was wanting to die that they didn't know what to do with?
Yeah, you know what Franco says too. The ones that he's worked with over the years, 36 years, that have transitioned in that way. As
Hmm.
soon as they come to and they realize how small that identity, that part of them was, they
Yeah.
want to go back. They want to go back.
Yeah. I remember seeing a story only a few months ago of a man that jumped off. Is there a bridge in San Francisco that's a common place
Golden
to?
Gate. Yeah, Golden
Okay,
Gate.
the Golden. Yes, he jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge,
Mm.
and he said within seconds of jumping, he'd changed his mind. He didn't want to die. But he said obviously then it was too late. And he actually, I mean, he broke all sorts of bones and everything, but he survived the fall. Yeah, but he said he knew within seconds of taking the jump that he really didn't want to die at all.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's important to understand that, you know, those periods when we think we don't want to be here anymore, we're going to die, isn't really the whole human. It's one aspect not wanting to be here anymore. And we haven't been taught how to address that one aspect. That's what happened to me in that period from the end of May is I just arrived at this place. The man's had to stay a bit longer because of COVID stuff, so he's waiting to see what's going on. And I was aware that each morning I walked out, I was a completely different person. And I thought, God, this poor man must think, oh, God, I've got a schizophrenic moved in. But what had to happen was that all of these aspects that had carried the belief that I was going to be rejected, including like I became aware of myself in utero. You know, my mum had told me when I was 14 that, you know, she tried to have me aborted. So even that aspect came up. So all these different aspects of
God.
myself that still was carrying the rejection program was presenting. So I was waking up a completely different person every day. Now they had to all separate and present themselves to me so I could bring them all in as one and then bring them back into my heart. I did it through zero pointing more so, but, you know, I became aware that we split. We
Yeah.
split, just like our energy splits, which is why we
Yeah.
use this thing that you use, Todd. You know, when we can feel when our energy splits and we're out of balance, and we use these three fingers, with our writing hand, we do that for 3 minutes, it's going to bring all those separated parts too. But it also happens for the human. We split off into these separate aspects of ourselves.
Yeah.
Carl Jung says, you know, we've all got minimum 12 archetypes, and different aspects of our personality will actually split. And then that's when that, you know, that inner conflict is happening, because there's one part of you saying, I don't want to be here, and another part saying, yeah, okay, I acknowledge that, but, you know, the rest of us are okay.
Yeah.
The rest of our aspects or identities are okay. We
That's
don't,
very
you know,
true. That's very true. I mean, in essence, by medical clinic, you know, clinical definition, we're all multiple personality. It's
yeah.
just that we've spent time keeping some here and some in the front.
Yeah, that's right. And so in my sessions, I always make a point of bringing up all of those separated aspects that, you know, still believe that they're separated from the human. Like there might be the 2-year-old, the 7-year-old, the 13-year-old, the 21-year-old, the 38-year-old that all want to come in and merge as one together, because they've been left out because of, you know, different traumas that have happened. So by bringing them all in and consciously merging them with the fullness of the human, there is a very powerful thing to do as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's real good.
Mm.
Yeah. Merging. Yeah. That's really powerful to
It is.
merge different, even like different ages of yourself and bringing them into oneness. It should be not that difficult, but you wouldn't
And
even
not,
think about it.
yeah, not only with, you know, those bits, but I also make a point of bringing in any of the future aspects that want to be there for those younger aspects, the higher self that might want to come in, and monad energy that might want to come in, and using all of those aspects and merging them all as one. It is a really powerful thing to do for yourself.
Right on.
Oh, you've
So,
gone all blurry.
oh yeah, yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on here, but it just keeps. I guess it's time to get a new camera.
Are you using
Maybe.
my laptop or your laptop, or the camera that Scott sent
Well,
you?
I'm using this one, but you hear that noise it makes. It sounds like an airplane.
Is that my old laptop?
No, I haven't turned that on yet. I was going to use that
Okay.
for, God, that's horrible. Damn, I'm going to have to go get one, unfortunately. Did you see how handsome my light body is? Did you see?
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Yeah.
He's all gangster too, you know?
No, he's not. He's not. He's a real gentleman. He's well behaved. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
swear. He's just
I know.
pure love.
I know he is.
He's
I'm
not
him.
gangster at all.
He's me. That's the whole point. Okay, it's getting hot in here. Finally got a hot flash. I'm hungry. I've got to go eat. It's been a long day. Let's see. What do you think? Was there anything we left out? Anything you want to do? Anything you got to say before we go?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So I'll see you in a couple hours. Is that
Mm-hmm.
cool? That
Yeah.
works? Okay. All right. We'll see everybody later. Peace out. See you in 2